Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a lovely little new Rapidash card. I feel a bit sorry for Rapidash. It was revealed yesterday. But the problem is, between Bill's analysis, which looks really good, Ninetales, which looks really good, and Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX, which looks really good. Yeah, there was just no way it was happening, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't have the time. I apologize. I feel like a bad person, but we now need to move on with our lives. Good news is, we can talk about it right now. It shouldn't surprise you at this stage to find out that the translation did come from the lovely David Hochmann, and it's Fire Pokemon. And Fire Pokemon are all right nowadays. They don't have the best tricks, but you've got Kiawe to accelerate energy, you've got Heat Factory, Prism Star, which is quite nice, incidentally. And you are hitting weakness against two different typings. You got Grass Pokemon like Decidueye, as well as Metal Pokemon like Metagross. So, you know, Fire type, not the worst one to be. We also see here a retreat cost of 1, which it's called Rapidash. It's got Rapid in the name. It should be more. And then we have a weakness to water, which is alright. Water decks aren't crushing. And Wailord and Magikarp, they will smash you regardless. But as with all cards, it is the attacks with which we are primarily concerned. This has a couple of decent attacks, both of which could be kind of useful. Now, the first attack here, according to David, for 1 fire energy, 20 damage plus burn. And this is okay. It's good because it's single energy. And let's face it, we've got some advantages for burn. Now, we do have Well of Volcano Park, which says that if your opponent flips heads on burn, they're still burned, which is kind of cool. And we've got Infernape. Now, Infernape does come in 2 flavors, either fighting or fire, and that says that you do 6 damage counters between turns for burn, rather than 1. Now, if you want a burning deck, and I don't think they're tremendously viable, but if you do want a burning deck, this is as good a candidate as any. Because 20 damage alone is quite good, but then you can add on a choice band and you're up to 50, and then you can maybe pop down a Shrine of Punishment, more on that in a minute, and then that's adding in, and then you've got the burn as well. Now, there is a decision between Well of Volcano Park and Shrine of Punishment, and the answer is Shrine of Punishment is better for the other attack, Well of Volcano Park is better for this. Because a combination of Infernape and Well of Volcano Park is going to put 6 damage counters on them between turns. The new burn rules, you take 6 damage counters. I say new, they've been out for a while now. But the newer burn rules take 6 damage counters between turns, then flip a coin if heads are no longer burned. Well, even if you're not playing Well of Volcano Park, they've still got a 50% chance of staying burned. And even if you're not playing Well of Volcano Park and they hit heads on burn, you're still doing 20 damage. 50 with a choice band, plus 6 damage counters for burn, and then maybe Shrine of Punishment. And this is one of those attacks that adds up quickly. This is one of those things that can add up really, really fast. And that's what you do here. I don't know if this has utility in many decks. Now, if you're playing it for the second attack, the first one can be good. Outside of that, I don't know if this has utility in that many decks, if I'm honest with you. Seems a little bit underpowered. But you can make a burn deck with it. The second attack, however, makes me far, far more excited. 2 fire energy, 60 damage, flip a coin. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. And this is the one where you can really make hay. Get it? Because it's basically a unicorn, which is basically a horse that sleeps in hay. You're welcome. It can win you games. Now, 60 damage alone isn't great, but you're not really doing 60 damage. You're hopefully getting at least 2 turns of 60 damage, added on to whatever else you can use, and there are a bunch of other options. So let's go through a couple of these options, shall we? First of all, you've got the fairly obvious Choice Band. Choice Band, when added to this, will put you up to 90 damage. 90 damage is good. Then if you double that for weakness, you're up to 180. And honestly, right, 180 is kind of annoying because it's not often enough. Because take something like Duskmane Necrozma, they've got 190. Well, to be fair, you can pop a Shrine of Punishment down, that'll do the extra 10 and you're fine. But what about Guzma with 210? You're just not getting there. And don't even get me started on Metagross. 250 HP. You ain't getting near that 250 HP Metagross. It's not happening. You're not getting that KO. But remember, it doesn't have to be in one turn. You're not playing this attack for the damage. Frankly, stage 1, 2 colored energy, you can do better. You're playing this because you do the 60 and get immunity. And that's really where this attack shines. You whack a Shrine of Punishment out so that each Pokemon EX and GX takes 10 damage between turns, and it's between turns, 10 after yours, 10 after theirs, 10 after yours, 10 after theirs. You whack a Choice Band on there, and now you're doing 90 damage plus 10 between turns, and remember that the 10 between turns isn't to the active. It's to all Pokemon EX and GX. Which means you're actually spreading a lot more damage around. And the entire time you're sitting there using an attack which stops your opponent hurting you next turn. Now at this stage I do need to mention Victini. Victini came out in Guardians Rising. I mean, it was a reprint of an old Victini which was printed like 70 times. But this one came out in Guardians Rising. And if you use a coin flip in your attack, you can reflip it. So that essentially gives you a 75% chance of hitting a heads, which means 3 out of 4 turns you're going to have immunity. Now, on the turn where you don't have immunity, you got 100 HP. That's not very much, ladies and gentlemen. You ain't going to be living very long. I say living, I mean being in the active, not being KO'd. That's a problem. But as long as you're hitting heads, you're absolutely golden here. And you could use this in something like an Incineroar deck. Incineroar's a fire Pokemon. The attack does 10 damage plus 20 more for each fire Pokemon on your bench. Maybe make one of them Rapidash, and if you need a couple of turns, just roll with Rapidash. And if you don't need a couple of turns, have it on your bench, allowing you to do an extra 20 damage. Just like Victini, which will also do an extra 20 damage. It's a really nice attack. The 2 energy puts me off a little bit. Honestly, I'd rather have the first attack doing 20 and agility on a coin flip. It's called agility. Immunity on a coin flip. That way we could have a single energy attacker buying some time. But that's not the way it's written. The way it's written, you need 2 energy. Now, if you're behind on prizes, might I suggest counter energy? That could be fun. Otherwise, you're just going to have to suck it up and attach the 2 energy. Although the combination of both Magcargo here could work very nicely indeed. Magcargo GX attaches an energy if it's the top card of your deck, and Magcargo from Celestial Storm lets you manipulate the top card of your deck. Yes, that is a very good combo that will help you out massively here. But the thing is, even if you've got immunity, it's not like there aren't ways around it. Your opponent can just whack a Tapu Koko up. Okay, you're not doing any damage to Rapidash, but you're still doing 20 damage to all of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Or your opponent can play an Escape Rope to switch the active, or they can play a Guzma to switch the active. And then you're just straight back into this situation where you have nothing. And you're stuck. And I'm assuming a little bit scared. I want to like this attack a lot, and I think it's an interesting attack. But the fact that it's 2 energy on a stage 1 gives me pause for thought. It doesn't quite do enough energy. This is one of those attacks which is almost amazing. But the 2 energy is just a little bit more than we'd like. And then the 60 damage is just a little bit less than we'd like. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, if you want this attack, I think you need Wailord. I think what you do is you play the Wailord from Guardians Rising. Now, it might be 2 water and a colourless, and it might do 40 damage rather than 60, but you have access to Aqua Patch, and you have access to Quagsire, and you have access to Brooklet Hill. so it actually becomes a much better option. An interesting card, but I'm forced to give it between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I'm not mad, I'm just a little bit disappointed. But I want to know what you think about this. Are you slightly more positive than I? Can you see a use for it? Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you check out my other channel, Wassie Plays, where we talk Transformers and Keyforge and other fun stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.